Woodland, California is not like a lot of other California towns because it is old. It's established in 1850, the same year as California became a state. It quickly became the county seat of Yolo County and has grown slowly into a very sweet agricultural town with about 60,000 residents and one antique mall. And that's where we're headed now. This is Main Street Antiques in an old, what looks like a 1950s era storefront, and we are going to discover what there is. California antique malls are usually pretty interesting. There's a lot of people in California and a lot of stuff came with them. The front window seems to have a Victorian etagere, so not everything in here is going to be 20th century. Again, because we're in Northern California, the chances are we will find some older things. There's a neat high safe with all of the perforated cabinet doors. And a really interesting style of quilt. Some pretty pieces here. The Fenton coin spot on the right is 75. That's a 1950s piece. And then this is a very pretty Majolica picture with an almost Alphonse Mucha base on it, priced at 85. Paden sitting near the most beautiful glass, and this is the Peacock. It's elegant depression glass, so it's got the pink color, but it's fire polished and very heavily etched. This is a pretty collectible line. This one's priced at $110. Pretty vase here too. This looks like it's Royal Copenhagen, and there's the mark. Nice scenic piece, a little larger than the vases we usually see from them. And that one's priced at $99. Looks like they have some nice furniture too. I like this Art Deco piece. It is a dresser. The mirror is small and built in almost like a shaving stand would be. Hello everyone. It's got a drawer here to put your gloves or your jewelry or your small pieces. Celluloid trim on the handles here. This one's priced at $3.99. And this front window display looks like we can carefully walk into it. Big poinsettia pin. $12. That seems like a good price for the size. Pretty set of Bohemian glass. And what a lovely etagere this is. With all of the curved panels and the buttresses that come down into the reeded columns. Nice metal feet. I can see why they put that in the front window. There's one of the Sirocco mid-century clocks that we see in this area, priced at $85, and only $49 on the hanging shelf with the mirror. That's actually a pretty good price. I used to sell mine for that, but I'm getting a lot more for them nowadays. Cute little pig. This is an etagere from Japan. Nice little porcelain piece. And I've always been fond of these rhinestone-studded clocks from the 1950s. This one is in a lucite case, $49 on that. This big window box here has an interesting red and gray glaze, and it's Las Palomar of California, a fairly obscure 1950s era pottery company here. There were over 2,000 potteries in the Los Angeles area alone at the end of World War II. Handsome brass inkwell from about 1900 with the nice big cut crystal here. $89. And here's a bunch of the little leather libraries. Speeches and Letters of George Washington. Midsummer Night's Dream. A lot of times these are Shakespeare. These were sold in the 19-teens and 20s. I like the dog bookends, but they are more recent. They're restoration hardware from India. And someone stripped many years and different layers of paint off of this pine piece here. And it's a nice plant pedestal back to its original raw nature at $95. I really like the faux snakeskin luggage here. These are really cool. Usually going to date to about 1940 travel air luggage. $65. It's such a good look. Fun set of nesting bowls from the 1930s here, priced at $175. They have Bauer ? I don't think this is one of Bauer's ring patterns. It's not quite the same as their gloss pastel. I'm thinking these might be by Garden City Pottery out of San Jose. Nice 1930s quilt. Same era with the great star pattern. And this one is handmade rather than machine stitch. When you get up close to it, you can see the variations that indicate that was not done on a machine. Very pretty quilt here too. Same era, priced at $195. This vintage thermos is awfully cute. Looks like the kids are at a fair of some sort. This is actually one of the Universal companies, which was a different line, not the same as this Aladdin thermos. Thermos was actually a trade name of Aladdin, even though we tend to call them generically thermoses these days. This is a neat thing. This is an old basic utility washstand made of metal from the 1920s with the enamelware. This would have been something for a boarding house or a very basic hotel room back in the day before there was plumbing. These are French, and we saw a lot of them imported here after the Second World War because people here like the look. These are Morgantown's crinkle pattern because Seneca have round rims and the Morgantown are irregular. So the irregular shape is how you know these are Morgantown instead of Seneca. Morgantown was a great glass company out of West Virginia, and this set is $125 for all of it. Cute little hostess set from Japan in the lusterware. 1934 to 1937 would be the date on this, and you can tell this was originally a Christmas presentation because of the printing on the box. Priced at $95. A bunch of Spelter figures in here. This one is newer, you can tell by the printing on the bottom there, but it is based on Celia, who is a 100-plus-year-old figure. We have the woman doffing her hat. This is going to be to about 1900. We have a minstrel here. That's $79. This again is going to be an earlier one because again, look at the difference in the printing there. It would require a little cleaning up, but $49 on the Hugo Boss factice is a pretty good price. Factices usually sell closer to $100. Factice means dummy for dummy perfume. That's not real perfume in there because that'd be $1,000 worth of perfume. They are just colored water for store displays. 19-teens or 20s Welsh dresser here. An English piece of furniture. Open shelves above a base with a cabinet. I like the barley twist legs. And the dark stained oak from England really works well with the English ironstone. You get a high contrast. So if you've started collecting ironstone, this is a good way to display. This glass bowl has a signature. It's art glass from the early 90s. I like the design. It's very controlled. There's our signature. 1992. This is not someone who I know to be famous in the aftermarket as an art glass designer, but at $45, I think it's a great value for the money. This looks like fun. There's 112 black and white photos of somebody's trip from about 1940. They went to Waterton Lakes, which is the Canadian side of Glacier National Park. And they are asking $50, which means they're asking about 50 cents per photo, in fact, a little less. So that's a pretty good deal. A few fun things here. I like the Sweet Caporal cigarette box from about 1930. The house art tray is New York World's Fair from the 60s. Depending on price, that might be something to buy. The baby moccasins with the green bugle beads should date to about the 1950s. Those are Alaskan. $24 is a good price on them with the fur lining. This is a local interest thing here, Yolo, California, county biographical sketches. And this was done by an LA company around 1913. That's when a lot of these pioneer tomes were printed all over the country. This one's priced at $200. This is a Yupik grass basket from Alaska. You can tell a few things that distinguish it from other ones. The colorations, which look like 1950s vintage to me. Also the fact that they use catgut and other things. It isn't just grasses. And also the birds in the design are a clue. This one is priced at $85. Very handsome circa 1900 American oak piece here. This hall tree with the applied thick carving at the top. See the beveling in the mirror. This is priced at $395. Not a bad price. I like the form. I like the cloverleaf inset. And of course it has a low seat with storage underneath, which is a handy thing by a door. This reminds me of every family restaurant in California when I was a child. They all had these hanging lamps with the wagon wheel in the middle. And so did a lot of houses. And this is an older area. Some of the buildings in this commercial district have been here since the Victorian period. And so you will see things like original stamped tin ceiling tiles, priced at $75 each. These fire plaques have been reproduced, so let's see if we can tell anything about the age of this one. It's pretty weighty, which helps. It's also very uniformly black on the back, like it wasn't ever hung anywhere. And that makes me think that it's probably a 20th century version. The originals are from the 19th century. It's priced at $95. I still think it's got enough age to be worth that price. $6.50 on this payphone. Boy, they have really gone up. Every time I see the prices on these now, I think I should have probably bought the beige one in Tijuana that was half that price. Nice coffee grinder. It's great that it has everything. It's got the knob, it's got the lid, it has the handle. It all turns and is in good shape. This is by Enterprise. Enterprise Manufacturing in Philadelphia did a lot of these. It's got the original drawer that the ground coffee came from. These were in small general stores. This one is priced as $6.95. If I were 21, I'd vote for Barry. That's from the Barry Goldwater campaign of 1964. The voting age was still 21 at that point. There was a lot of talk of making it 18. Eventually, it did become 18 because the irony that you could be drafted and sent to fight in a war at age 18 without the right to vote became too much for people to bear. Plymouth, Massachusetts had its 300th anniversary in 1920, and these souvenir plates were done about that time by various English companies, showing all sorts of wonderful things in the Plymouth, Massachusetts area, and were sold to tourists going back to see the Pilgrim's Progress. Only $19 on the Hazel Atlas little ice bucket from the 1930s. The important thing is that the white hasn't started to go gray, because once that happens, you really can't do much about it. So this one is well priced and in good condition. Johnson Brothers Hearts and Flowers is a pattern that was very popular in the 1960s and 70s. It was competing with Metlocks that did a lot of this sort of provincial homesteady looking stuff here in California. Old vintage Schlitz neon sign for $149. Neon is not that easy to get a hold of these days, and this looks like an original one from about 1960. Let's see what these look like. They're little homemaker plastic furniture done by the Plastic Art Toy Corporation. Renwall and Marks did plastic furniture too, but theirs was a little bit more stylish than the Renwall and Marks because it's two-tone. It's a little more sumptuous looking. That's a fun set. Everything you need for a living room around 1950. Here's another little homemaker set. This is for the garden. I haven't seen the patio furniture set before. Cute little table and chairs with an umbrella and a chaise lounge. And the price on these are $39 each. Championship Hockey Bagatelle. This is by Marks, and this is about the time that hockey starts to expand from the original 6 teams to the West Coast. Priced at $29. We're not that far from the Placer area where the gold mining was, and there are also a lot of factories around this area that could use sieves as well. So you see a big stack of them here. Each one has a different opening in the screen depending on what you're filtering. And this set is priced at $250. Of course, I'm heading the wrong way, but these are Seattle World's Fair glasses. And they are only $6 each. Which means if I can get these sent back to Seattle, I can sell them for double or more. And they go fast there, so I will probably take all of these. The Space Needle is the one that sells the first, of course. There were 8 in the series. It looks like they have 5 here. You got these when you filled your car up with gas at mobile stations during the fair. This is the Gateway. That's what they called the amusement park area. Here is the Pacific Science Center. Yes, very fun. We'll take those. Barlow was a local trucking company, and this Yosemite Sam piece is really fun from the 1960s. Local interest again. That seems to be priced around $65. Some more Majolica, and I have to say the prices seem pretty good. This is an asparagus server. You can tell because, well, there's asparagus in it. And this is going to date to about 1900. They have this marked down to $75. And this is well priced here at $49, the divided relish. We see a lot of very basic Army and Navy uniforms and coats, particularly Second World War, like the Peacock here. This Army coat is pretty typical as well. But this one from about 1965, I would say, has some pretty impressive bars on it, including Purple Heart. And that's why this one is a little more special, priced at $149. I like the purses hanging in the back, particularly this turquoise number. It's a little frayed, unfortunately, otherwise $125 would be a fair price. A lot of people see these California figures and assume they're all Hetty Shoup, but this particular one is K of Hollywood. The detail in the face is a little more simple than a Hetty Shoup piece would be, and that's how I recognize it. It has all the original strings. It doesn't seem to have any damage. I don't see a price on it, though. These are PY Japan. They were right up there with Holt Howard for cuteness and whimsy in the 50s and 60s. Great little tea set. It's got all three pieces in really good condition, and it's priced at $120 for the set. Only $10 for the gondolier and the other Italian scene silhouette. They were made in the United States, but the scenes are Italian. And then a bunch of depression glass. And yes, this is green that will glow because of the uranium in it. Does jadeite glow? Well, it depends who made it. These pieces on the left are by McKee, and McKee used a little bit of the formula that they used in their custard glass. That means it did have traces of uranium, so these will glow. These as well. The Fire King mugs do not. They're a slightly different shade, and they don't have that uranium custard in them, but the picture on the left does. This is a really cool piece here. The man on the flying trapeze. This is a Wyandotte piece. Wyandotte mainly did vehicles, and a lot of the metal they used was scrap metal left over from the auto industry. This one they are asking $290. Behind it they have the Lone Ranger with his lasso on silver. That's really fun. From the 50s. That one is priced at $275. These are cap tins. A lot of people like English tin boxes now. The old candy boxes and toffee boxes are popular, but cap tins were done around the 1980s. There's the mark out on the bottom, but each one's wearing a different cap. The tennis player, the football player, the baker, and the cowboy. Those are really fun. Blood dough was very popular in California back in the day, and there's a fun lime and lemon set. And this particular set is priced at $85. Pumps and farm stuff is something you are going to see because we are in an agricultural area. This one is $65. I hope you're enjoying this walk down memory lane the way I am. If you are, please click thumbs up to let YouTube know you like this video. And if you are interested in supporting the channel on a bigger level, we do have membership packages, and there are different perks depending on what level, including chatting with me live every month and early access to videos. We also have Patreon, so check those things out. Just go below the dash line in the description of this video and hit membership links. I usually think of big pheasant figures like this as being German or Austrian, but this one is Italian from the 1960s. Barsottini is the name of the company, and it was imported by Banfi of New York. Very big and very colorful for $59. A bunch of tonala birds and turtles and other figures here. Prices between $28 and $42. I like this little guy here. This is Howard Pierce, and they say signed by artists. $125 on that. I don't see the one with the quails on the branches too often. You see the quails by themselves a lot. There's the Howard Pierce mark. This is something Californians definitely appreciate. This is Bauer Alfresca, the speckled clays. They did these in pinks and yellows and other pastels, very close to the end of their production. And this one has the metal bail, which is often missing. Cottageware by Price of England here. There are Japanese similar pieces, but these are definitely Price. The butter dish is the one that's the hardest to find, $25 on that. You see the teapot more frequently. They have $29 on that. And this is a big biscuit jar, priced at $35. They also did sugar and creamer to go with the teapot. $150 is about the right price for this balance scale. The door comes up so that you can use it. It has this piece to raise and lower. It also has its weights in the drawer here, so it's a pretty complete set. And this should date to sometime around 1920. The front end of a Ford truck. I believe my dad had that truck when I was very, very little. He had a 55 Ford truck, and it had a very similar front end emblem to that. This is priced at $95. I like these cubby hole units. They have several that they're using in here to show lots of stuff, including this grouping of Francoma wagon wheel. This is the old Ada clay here, 75 cents. It was probably the price when it was new before 1955. Ada clay is the tan clay. It turned brick red when they moved to Sepulpa in 1956. So these are the original issue pieces, and I'd like to find a price on them because I do sell wagon wheel fairly well here out west. Well, this place keeps on going, so let's keep on going with it. Stolen ashtrays are us. A lot of these seem to be casino ashtrays from Las Vegas, a whole lot from Reno as well. Golden Nugget and Harvey's and Harrah's and Boomtown. I look for things that are beer related as well. Stella Artois, $7, not a bad price on that. If it was a little more interesting graphically, I would probably buy that. We like to think of our ancestors as having lived in a more genteel time when people were respectable and upright, and yet everybody smoked and then felt it was fine to just take the ashtray with them from wherever they were. Wachtersbach Christmas tree items are some of the most popular Christmas dinnerware now. Made in Germany from about the 1970s through the early 2000s is my understanding. $29 on the bowl. This is the Bunnykins Band for the 50th year Golden Jubilee celebrations. The Bunnykins Oompa Band, $19 on this piece. This is Royal Dalton. It does have all 4 pieces in the set, and it was a short production of these. Mini perfumes are fun because you can get a whole lot on one shelf. This one in front here is Sterling. There's some that are various fairly famous names and some that are less so. I see Opium and Joy. A lot of times those are worth it just for the fragrance. And then some are just cute because they look fun on a dresser. You see prices from $4 on up on these. And wow, do they have a lot of small figures, salt and pepper shakers, everything you can imagine crammed in. A couple of Goebel Cowboys here. The baseball player and the hockey goalie. $50 they're asking on that one. And then some Port Marion pieces down here. I have started to sell the Nancy Ann storybook dolls again if they're composition in this price range, $19 to $29. There is Nancy Ann, who started all of this. This is nice that it has the original polka dot box and the literature that went with it. Sometimes they even have a little band around their arm that tells who they are. In the back room here, we see a somewhat traditionally styled mid-century chest of drawers and a Victorian settee in very nice condition, reupholstered in an appropriate upholstery probably in the 1980s when this maroon was very popular. They want $550 for this. Want something old and truly economical, they're only asking $50 for this 1870s era chest of drawers. 1870s typified by this oval decoration. Fairly plain design, but then the leaf holes on the drawers. That is a phenomenally cheap price for that. I mentioned Garden City Pottery Company earlier. They were out of San Jose, and in addition to dinnerware, they also did crockery. This is one of their number 8 crocks. It's priced at $150. It does have a little bit of a hairline crack, but you don't see a lot of these. This washstand is pretty. It's English. It has a swing mirror on top, and then a lovely tiled backsplash, and the marble top, and then storage area, priced at $275. I just sold my Kitchen Queen. This is a Hoosier, and it is a real Hoosier because it says so. Hoosier is a brand name. A lot of these were made by various companies in Indiana, But Hoosier is specifically one company out of Newcastle. This is from about 1930. It's got the nice enamel top, a fairly straightforward design. The timbre doors that open side to side are nice. This piece has an interesting provenance. This apparently was owned by Eleanor McKinnon, who was the first female OBGYN doctor in Sacramento and got started in the 1930s when these cabinets were being made, and this would have been in her office. Nice design, useful for lots of collections, and priced at $500. Like these 1980s French Lulu perfumes, $15 each. They're just such a great color combination. Popular in the 60s and 70s from the Philippines were these shell art pieces. On the left you have the Peacock for $40. A lot of work went into that, matching and assembling all of those. And then on the right, the floral spray, they had to do some cutting and layering on that too. When you think about the effort that went into them, that really doesn't seem expensive. This is a very pretty 6-light flower chandelier. Only $75. This is probably Italian from about 1980. Well, they like Afghans like I like Afghans. And they seem to be pricing them a little higher than I do. These cute little ceramic redware pieces are by Hermione Palmer. She was a graduate of UC Berkeley and worked in the 1930s and 40s before she married into the Chase banking family. These little pieces are priced about $50 each. The United Nations building in New York had to be practically brand new around 1952 when this cup and saucer set was made by Kent China of England expressly for their souvenir shop. This is priced at $10 for the set. I've seen some interesting cribbage boards here, but this one takes the cake. It is the trainer. And if I can get it out here to show you, it is the shape of a toilet seat. So a different kind of training there. But the cover and the pegs are gone, unfortunately. That would have been a fun thing to buy and bring to a show just as a novelty. Something made as a gag in the 1980s. Franciscan apple, such a popular pattern. It was widely collected. There's a lot of big collections out there now. The prices have really come down. It's very good quality, made in California, $35. This is the original mark from about 1940 when they took on the Franciscan trade name. But of all the pieces here, the one that seems like it might be a real deal is this one. This is the covered server, and you do not see very many of these. You never did. It's only $25. I know the demand is not as high as it used to be for these, but that may be so inexpensive for a good serving piece that somebody who has a collection would be looking for a piece like this. Only problem is, I don't think that's the right lid because it moves around too much. They were really big on making sure things fit right, so I think I'm going to leave it. Cute Victorian chromolith children prints in these really nice frames with the aesthetic period designs, a little bit of spoon carving on the inside. These should date to about 1880. They are priced at $75 each. This is really cute from the teens. We should worry, we should fret. Mother ain't no suffragette. Priced at $75. Graphics are somewhat similar to Charles Twelvetree's. Long after most of Weller Pottery's artware lines were gone, they did get back into the hand painting with the Benito line. It's neat because it's got a different color interior and the rims. It's got the etched mark from about 1930, and this particular one is priced at $59. Lenox China has been a little out of fashion, but the quality is really good, so there are still collectors. And I have a feeling at some point, especially with prices like this, it will come back to the fore. This whole set is only $150, and this is the Rutledge pattern with the very pretty and delicate hand painting of the flowers around the edge. And what I like about it is that you can put the food on and you can still see the pattern. I see prices all over the place on these 1960s vintage Toll-style painted lamps. This one is $32. They were not expensive when they were new. To me, $32 is a great price. I've seen this priced $100 higher in other stores. This cocktail shaker is $45, and this is by the West Virginia Glass Company, the company that made Blendo. It's just a little earlier than the Blendo lines. This would be a piece from about the 1950s. They have some interesting older and antiquarian books in here too. This one particularly at $145 is an early California history, 46 to 88. Printed in 1888, talking about the first 40 years of California's involvement with the United States, and of course the gold rush. Gentleman's Magazine, this has been rebound from 1784. This was published in the 60s, North American Indians. It's a pretty famous guide because it was a reprint of the 1841 edition that talked about the letters and notes of manners, customs, and conditions of the Indians of North America. Catlin traveled among the tribes for about 7 years and detailed them very thoroughly. Down here, this is a really cool steamship advertising piece with the schedule. Monticello Steamship Company in the U.S. Navy Yard in Vallejo. A good friend of mine lived there, and his dad was stationed there in the Navy. It has long since been closed. Very cool catalog from 1917. Deere and Weber farm wagons. So this is related to John Deere collecting, which is very popular, and this is priced at $100. Beefeaters and basic soldiers here, English. Lead figures are priced at $4 each, as are the U.S. presidents. This was part of a Mark series that they did in the 1960s. In this tool case are these interesting whetstone holders for sharpening your scythe. Big old lever wrench, lots of planes. And down here, the Collins machete from Guatemala from about 1950. I've had those before. A very fancy 1930s baby pram with the chrome fenders and everything. Priced at $175. This was actually called a Strollo chair, because it was convertible into various different forms. And again, we're in farm country, so you're going to see things like this grinding wheel here, priced at $279 out of the 1930s. Many people who became infamous were much loved at one time, and that's true of this fellow. This is O.J. Simpson from the Pontiac Silverdome. He and the Pontiac Silverdome are gone now, and the autograph is real. There's a certificate of authenticity, and it's priced at $275. Because infamy sells too. Next to it is a very pretty chromolithography piece from the Hamilton Brown Shoe Company with a lovely lady. I don't see any shoes. I don't think that's what they were selling. Priced at $300. This is a neat frame and a neat print from the 1920s from the Santa Fe Railroad. You can just see a little of their logo in the lower left corner there, priced at $30 with the arrow maker. 8 tracks, $5 each. They have a little bit of vinyl here too. If you have an old car that has an 8-track player, for example, you might be a customer for these. So they do sell a little bit. We have Wayne and Greg Almond. Ted Nugent, somebody recorded that themselves. Foreigner. More Ted Nugent, yes. This person was some sort of a rocker of the 70s. Although the Bay City Rollers don't really count. This is just marked brass pitcher, but what this is actually for, and it could be hung or set flat, you would have had a striker here and a striker there. And this held fireplace matches. Big long ones, so you could light the fire without getting too close to it. Ooh, the Christopher Reeve Superman set of Topps trading cards for $50. They have the 1980 version for $35. That's not all there. These pocket knives are basic, but the prices are good, $8 and $10 for most of them, including the striped fish knife there in the middle in the maroon and yellow. Here's something where you have to trust your intuition. It's very heavy, it's goofy. They have it listed as a bottle opener and shown with other bottle openers, but I don't see any wear that would indicate that's how it was used. It may just be a figure. I can't find anything like it for sale. They're asking $29. I think for my shows in Florida, I might just give that one a chance. There's a fancy Hollywood Regency style bottle for $135 with the portrait on it. Roseville's Mean Tree. This is a pattern you don't see too often from very late in their production, priced at $175 with the high gloss glaze. A Singer Featherweight 1960s model in white. You don't see the white as often, and they're more expensive. This one is priced at $6.25. Looks like it has everything. Buffalo Brewing was out of Sacramento, and these are a bunch of toothpicks. This looks like it's all pre-Prohibition because I see 1905 dates on a lot of these. There's the brewery itself. The Black Maria, actually later known as the Black Maria, was a paddy wagon they would send through Reno, and if you weren't wearing Western wear during their rodeo event, which started in 1919, they would put you in this as a joke and then take you to the rodeo. This is probably from about 1950. This is one of the funnier beer trays from the 1930s or so. Who wants the Hampton waiter? The Hampton waiter is the handsome waiter. Says so right there. A walkable town with Victorian buildings in California is actually something of a scarcity. And there are the antique stores here, I'm noticing. So Woodland is a place we'll have to come explore some more.
If you enjoyed this video, check out this one. Also, click thumbs up to like this video and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We've got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help. And we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.